welcome to Community Coda. This is Adam Bierman. Tonight's subject will be the first woman ever on Community Coda, Ann Reeves. And I'd like to also say it's the first time I'm working with Mike Littwin as producer. And we're eager to hear about you, if I could say the grand dame or dame of Princeton, the Arts Council, Princeton Art Museum, how the town's changed, the organizations you've been in, the causes you've taken up. You have been at the epicenter of this community for so many years. And we want to hear your story. I have to say, I'll give a short declaration. Like I've said to the others, I've known about you even before I knew you. I've always seen you in the papers. What is Ann Reeves in Princeton? What's the connection here?
She came to Princeton and started her family with an alum and just carried on, found the community just wonderfully warm and friendly, and took courses at the university and had 4 children, and which have given me enormous pleasure. And from there I found that the arts have always been a great love of mine, and therefore I started working with the Arts Council and eventually started the Art Center. And
so you had a town and gown relationship though?
Yes.
So you managed to straddle both worlds?
And I've enjoyed that tremendously.
What have you done at the university? Besides you taking courses, what else?
Taking courses and just finding it very friendly as far as asking various members from the university to come and work with the Arts Council. And some have given readings. I mean, we've had just a wonderful variety. And then we've had students who've come and helped teach middle schoolers a little bit about writing. And this was Paul Muldoon's idea, and it worked beautifully. And the students have continued, and one wonderful student's brother came and took her place when she graduated. So it's worked very nicely. And then we work with the student volunteers a great deal. And when there's a great need, it's wonderful to be able to call the Frisk Center or the student volunteers. It's they're right there for you, and they're usually kids that get a big bang. We have a homeless program, and we've had a wonderful time with students over the year coming every Thursday afternoon and helping us.
So it's a win-win situation, as you see it.
Yes, definitely.
Can you take us back to the beginning though? When was this Art Council? When was that? What was the year? What was happening?
Well, the year the Arts Council started, it was started by Bill Selden in 1967, and the main thrust was to pull nonprofit art organizations together so that they could support each other and not duplicate having the same benefit on the same night or a concert series that overlapped. And so and then once you get artists together, things start happening. And then there was a building, the WPA building, that was the United Way was pulling out, and the town needed someone to go in there, and so they opened it up to a whole group of nonprofits to compete and see if maybe we could use the building well. And we were fortunate enough to be given the opportunity to turn it into an art center. And that's where it began, and it mingles all of the arts and all different ages, whether it's a teenage band that comes in and gets very serious about their music and gets all their friends to come, and they guard the doors, and everyone has to pay $5. It's just wonderful. And as you all know, there's a lot to our Cafe Improv that has just been going beautifully for years now, and it's one Saturday night a month, and it's all these talented people who come from all over and perform and meet each other, and we have poetry involved as well as music, and so there's...
So you're somewhat like you and other people at the Art Council, you're catalysts to bringing them together. What would be your average work day like? What is Ann Reeves doing at her desk though?
She's getting up and checking on not checking on various things, but always trying to pull people together and see if we can't get a little funding to help with one program, and then look at a group who are doing a gallery exhibit and see how they can get more excited and what the opening is going to be like and whether we're going to send out postcards. I mean, it just hops. There's a wonderful watercolorist who teaches classes there, and she's very special. And we have Mr. Bob, who's just a great guy, who's over at the museum part-time with the security program there. And then he also comes and teaches for us. And there's a ceramics program with Kathleen Preciosi, has been running it for quite a while, and it's very special. And then there was a great gal by the name of Amy Green, who is now out in California, but she started our Sauce for the Goose, and that's a holiday event where various artists come and bring their wares, and then everybody comes and Christmas shops or whatever. So, and then there are children who come in and out, and our neighborhood means a great deal to us. So if children come in and they want to use the water fountain, we always say, "Do you live in the neighborhood?" And they say, "Oh yeah, we live in the neighborhood." And so it's really wonderful. It has a long way to go, but I think it's a very warm, friendly place. It just takes time for people to feel comfortable, and we have a large Hispanic group now, and we've arranged to have some books, and a program called New Friends, Books and You, and some of the university students went around and left flyers saying, please, if you have any books that you've outgrown from children, please give them to us. So they went back the following day, and they just came in with grocery bag after grocery bag after grocery bag. And then we had a fair down on Witherspoon Street, which was part of the Witherspoon Presbyterian Church's fair, and we were able to give out books. And so it's a lot of little things that go on.
Well, Princeton's a changing dynamic. In 1967, as I remember, it was a small town. Route 1 basically isolated us from the turnpike. And now you led me into, I guess, what I could call it, a controversy. In your later years, if you're giving, there's some little controversy, though. I guess that's what you led me into.
Oh, yes.
The Arts Council has to grow.
Yes.
The community is growing.
That's right.
And then you have the neighborhood.
That's right.
Well, we could debate forever both sides. Where do you see it going? I know they're going to build. What's your feeling?
We're going to add on to the side of the building, to the business side of the building, and try and enhance the Green Street side of the building by having a nicer porch and having a garden, and try and make it as part of the neighborhood and as pleasant a part of the neighborhood as we possibly can. I think the main concern was traffic, parking, and change is always difficult, and you worry about people being a little too greedy and maybe wanting more than they really need. And so it turned out to be a good exchange.
Other benefactors come into play that you mentioned. The president, Golden City.
Oh, we have a wonderful, I've been very blessed with a wonderful president who we worked very well together. And if we get this Michael Graves building, which I think we will, Suzanne Goldenson had a big part in pulling it all together and helping us see what was needed and how we could possibly do it.
Would you call it a battle, a process?
A process.
It's a process.
It was definitely a process.
But she was in the thoughtful will. I'm putting the metaphors in. But she was with you along the way.
Yes, she was, very much so. And Michael Graves, who it's his design, has been great to work with for years and years and years.
And he was active, of course, in this design, and
yes.
He's an attachment. Again, he's giving his time.
He's giving his time. He also gave his time and helped us with a wonderful mural at the middle school.
Oh, John Witherspoon?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's there, and it's very special. He's a remarkable architect and designer. And I love, there's a quote that says that his work is for the privileged many. And I love to consider myself one of the privileged many, so at Target or wherever we are with my Michael Graves. And I think we've got a very, very beautiful building now planned. Now we just have to go out and raise the money.
Right. How are you going to get that money now?
Well, we raised almost $4 million before we went through the planning board. And lo and behold, it just took time. And so now we have to go out again because it costs money to have lawyers and planners and engineers, and so forth. Plus, it's more expensive to build now than it was 4 years ago. But we'll handle it. I mean, dreams are dreams, and they really can come true. And I think having us catty-cornered from the public library will be a wonderful situation for the town.
My question, though, let's go back as we have a haze in the background. What about the young Ann Reeves? Where were you born, and how did this art thing come about?
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I came east to go to college.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Marymount College, and then I followed that by working for Time Life in their promotion department. And I think that I was an English major, so the literary side of me was developed in school, and then went on to Time Life, but also worked in the promotion department, so I got some background on marketing and photography, and had a wonderful...
And promotion and how the written word and everything, that grounded you in that.
So that helped. And I enjoy photography tremendously, and have some things that I'm pleased with, but not enough. And I realized if I wasn't going to be Cartier-Bresson, I might as well go and help someone else become Cartier-Bresson. So that's how it developed.
And then you came to Princeton, what, 67 or?
No, I came in the 60s. And
what was your view of Princeton then? What was it like? I mean, compared now to then?
You know, everyone says it's so different, and in some ways it is, but I find it very invigorating. I find the fact that it's grown brings more people in from all over the world, and it's great. I rarely go into that bread company without hearing a couple of different languages, and you know, whether it's Czech or if you're at Small World Coffee. I think it makes us a very exciting, interesting community.
Did you say we're a focused community, a focused city, due to the fact of the international influence?
Yeah, I would say. And this wonderful idea that Peter Soderman and group had to build the Follies is just another example of how, when you put everybody together, all these different architects and different literary people, look what happens. And the town is very fortunate in having that. But it's because there are so many remarkable people who give their time. I mean, I used to love Barbara Sigmund talking about government by night. She said, I don't have anything going on during the day. It's always these meetings at night. But you know, all this volunteer work that stays until all kinds of hours. And they're making our community that much sounder, safer, more environmentally charming, a bike path here and there. So I feel there's been a great deal that's been wonderful.
On that note, just a side note, what about the comment, one Princetonian, 5 opinions? Sometimes it's hard to find consensus.
Yes, it is.
How do you deal with that? I've already talked to you a couple times personally. You have a very congenial type, gracious demeanor, but at the same time, I mean this is a positive note, you can tell you know what you want. How do you go about getting what you want all the time?
Well, I think...
Not that you always do. But.
No, you don't always, that's for certain. But I think you learn a great deal by listening to what others want and need, and perhaps are willing to bend, and then you're willing to bend, and therefore something can be solved, rather than just having a straight line and columns saying, no, we must do this. We've always done it this way, or...
Try to reach a consensus and see if we have something in common.
Mm-hmm.
What about, I guess, all the local luminaries and perhaps internationally famous luminaries you've met? Who's had the biggest effect on you, or things that you remember that people have told you or said, or any actions? You've ever come home one day and to go, that person was like a Lincoln?
Yeah.
Anyone?
And there's some remarkable people, and it's very hard to single out one, but Karl Schorsky is one of my heroes. And
who was he, though, for the audience?
Yes, he was a professor at the university. He's emeritus now, and he's done a wonderful book on Fended Seattle, and it's all about the Viennese period and the arts that took place during that period. It's fascinating, and he's a remarkable man. And one of the things the Arts Council did with Barbara was during the last year of her life, we did a book called oh my heavens, how could I forget the name of this book? At any rate, Barbara wrote poems, and we pulled all these poems together, and she was really very pleased that we could do this, and had someone who would publish it. We got a group of people together to back it, and so it's just really been a wonderful thing, and we still have copies, and we've given them, many people give them to people when they find out that there has been cancer in the family. And
so your families grew up together? Like
our children
family?
did, yes.
Oh.
We came together and we did just lots and lots of wonderful things together. Barbara had, as you said, she had a light, she had a spirit that was just plain fun, although she was very, very bright, and she could see what was going to happen down the lane. I can remember one time she was saying, "You think the traffic's bad now? Let me tell you what it's going to be like." And she just could.
She had the common sense and the foresight, and she could put the pieces together, so to speak.
One of the things we did that was especially fun was we had a celebration for the 50th anniversary of the parking meter. And
in Princeton or from Oklahoma City? I think I read it started in Oklahoma City or something.
in Princeton. Well, maybe it started in Oklahoma, but we had our own little one here. Lo and behold, we gave a prize for the person who had the most tickets. And so this guy came out, we presented him with the prize, and he said, "Oh, the only thing I must say is I never could have done this without the help of my wife," so that she had gotten as many tickets.
Sounds like me. I always like to blame my wife, especially when she can't defend herself.
So that worked out wonderfully. And then we would go down to Washington when we were trying to pick out the color and the design for the sidewalks. And it wasn't long after we got back that I got this call from Barbara, and she said, "Guess where I am?" And I said, "Well, where are you?" And she said, "I'm in Edison, New Jersey. I'm at cement school." Trying to get just the color that we decided would be wonderful for our streets. But it was that kind of...
She was very hands-on then.
Yeah, oh, very much. Yes, she was very hands-on.
You think she would have been a good governor? Didn't she want to be governor at one point?
Yes, she did run for governor. And of course, I think she would have been terrific, yeah.
Even in this state, it's a very difficult state, I think, to govern, as we do know. Besides the Arts Council, what else have you, besides raising 4 children, what is it your kids think of all this activity? What do they call you?
Well, they came along with me often. Okay. Certainly the youngest one did. He knows exactly what the Arts Council is all about. Most of them do, and most of them have had a wonderful opportunity of setting up chairs and being told that they could have some juice and crackers or whatever it was afterwards, a big reward. But they, I think they think it's fun, and then they ended up using it as teenagers.
Right. Oh, it's a great conduit outlet for them at the same time.
It was great. Oh, we can have this band here. Oh, I know the band, and so forth. So that worked out nicely.
So they came along for the ride.
Yes, definitely.
What else have you done though besides other committees or things that you're proud of, or just you want to discuss in Princeton? I know there's a lot. It seems countless.
We all do so many things in this community. I guess I'm very happy now to be working with the Latino community, the Latin American Task Force, and I've seen that grow. And I just got a call today saying, "Would you please help? The hospital's going to have this thing." I said, "Oh, really?" So it's now become so big. The hospital is putting on a clinic in November. And because there are needs, there are tremendous needs in this community. It looks so pretty, and the trees are so marvelous, and the flowers, and the people, but there is great need as well.
Still, people need health care, people need tutoring, people need direction.
Yes, they need direction, and the mentoring is really important, and it's wonderful. Over at Johnson Park School, they have a mentoring program where the children help some of the older members of our community learn how to use computers. And of course the children think they're the smartest thing in the whole wide world, and of course the adults know nothing about it, and it works beautifully. There are things of that sort that happen that are wonderful.
The nuances, not always the most romantic or attention grabbing, but they're very important to get people on their feet.
The other thing that I think is the Arts Council has been very proud of is working as an incubator for groups, so that the Princeton Symphony started at the Arts Council, the June Opera, which turned into the Opera of New Jersey.
Was that Carol Sonnenfeld with the Princeton Symphony?
That was her mother.
Oh, I knew the daughter. Right.
That's right, so you were talking about the daughter.
So that started just at that now pretty.
Which is rock. Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
That was just like a little baby at the Arts Council when people getting together. Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
We auditioned there, and Mark Laycott was chosen by Portia to be her successor, and then the Princeton Photography Club started there, and I don't know, but it's been nice. So if somebody gets an idea and they need a place to meet, and they need to talk about how you go to get a nonprofit and so forth, it's nice to be there. And
Right, it's like a clearinghouse, literally.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to people though who not denigrate the arts, but say, come on, we have other more important things to do? And I guess I'm converted. I think the arts are important, you know, because like you said, you just pointed out how it starts things that have aided or entertained so many people. What do you say to them? Do they tell them they're short-sighted, or when they what?
Well, most people don't come down hard on the arts with me, because they know it's my love. But it's everyone there. It's just not me. I mean, at the Arts Council, there's a large group of wonderfully dedicated people who reach out, and there's a wonderful woman by the name of Janet Stern who reaches out into films especially, and really knows her films. She knows every film she's ever seen. She's kept a list of them. I mean, I thought that was quite remarkable. And then there are just, Mark German has been helping with operations and he's just wonderful to work with. And then, there are others. Maria Evans is just full of life, and the various teachers who are there. It's a very rewarding environment to be in. So, and people are laughing and they're fussing about this or that.
How many hours a week do they put in? You're there?
Well, there are 3 full-time people and 4 part-time people who are there. And we have a graphic artist who is in the building. We have a French guy who paints it's a barter situation, helping us with various needs. And it's definitely the arts, there's no doubt about it. It isn't a corporate situation.
So where does the future, in a nutshell, the next 10 years, where is Ann Reeves in all this? Will I be seeing you walking down?
I'm hoping that I will be there for the ribbon cutting, if we can get this building cut. I mean, the ribbon cut. And then I would love to move on and see.
Oh, you are going to move on?
And see what other things. I mean, this has been my little patch in the woods, so to speak, and it's been great. But there's room for lots of, one doesn't know, but that's my hope, that we can get this addition built and celebrate, and then have wonderful things happen.
Well, you're only 39, so of
that's
course.
right. So it's just that's right. Then I'll be looking for my next. I'll probably be commuting.
We'll see you in New York.
That's right.
Downtime. What do you do? Do you travel? Do you still take photographs?
I love to travel, and I love to take photographs, and I like gardening and reading. I belong to 2 reading groups that are very special for me. Wonderful women from the community, and we have wonderful discussions, good discussions on books, which we like and which we thought was awful, and who in the world suggested that one, sort of thing. I'm interested in the history of the community and how it can be preserved. I'm interested in the environment. Living near the Institute Woods is such a pleasure, and Marquand Park, where children can...
You can just stroll.
Yeah, so it's walking to town. It's 5 minutes from my kitchen door to McCarter.
You're very
wonderful.
Maybe you can rent me your upstairs room.
Right.
How would you like to be remembered?
I guess I'd like to be remembered for someone who was there to be helpful, to perhaps inspire some things, but basically if there was a need that maybe I could be counted on, that sort of thing. But it isn't something I think about all the time.
Right. Where did this giving come? It's too much like a Quaker, though.
Well,
In this world, I'm not cynical, but a lot of people seem so cynical. And growing up in Princeton, I'm used to people giving back. But
yeah.
where did this go? Who instilled this in you, though? You, your parents?
I think it's interesting because I was just visiting my sister, and she does work that's not unlike my work. So we thought, wouldn't our father be pleased that we were reaching out and not just curled up?
And still there.
But I mean, and I guess if you're an idea person, these things, are they just have to come out of you, and you have to say, oh, we could do this, and figure out a way to do it.
And by golly, let's get it done.
Mm-hmm. Don't say, oh, we don't have any money, we don't have this, forget it. There are ways, and there's so many wonderful people. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous to say, but this community is just remarkable.
I know it is, compared to others.
I mean, and partly because there is a center to it, so that we can come together and find one another. And if there's a welcoming well, then you're bound to get people, is my thought.
So artists are the antennae or to draw in the creativity of the world?
They're just...
And you're going to keep spreading it?
I'm hoping to, as much as I can. Excuse me, I need to move on.